The weighted balance. By the spring of 2026, the hum of the global economy had changed frequency. In a quiet, sun-drenched study, Alara sat before a series of translucent monitors. The old rules of finance hadn't vanished, but they had evolved into something more intricate. She wasn't just tracking numbers. She was monitoring the pulse of a world where the physical and the digital had finally, irrevocably merged. "Is it still about the mooning for you, Jackson?" Alara asked as her younger cousin entered, clutching a sleek tablet. Jackson laughed, but his eyes were sharp. He represented the new wave of capital, fast, digital, and unapologetic. He tapped his screen, highlighting a chart for Dogecoin. "It's about sentiment and liquidity now, Alara. Even the memes have institutional backstops in 2026. Jackson swiped to his primary holdings. Bitcoin sat at the top, no longer a speculative bet, but the undisputed digital gold of the decade. "I use BTC as my sovereign reserve," he explained. "But I need the speed of the others for the day-to-day." He showed her his allocations in ADA and HBAR, the infrastructure plays that had survived the great shakeouts of the early 20s. Alara stood and walked to a heavy, concealed safe in the corner of the room. With a soft click, she opened it to reveal the dull, reassuring luster of physical silver bars and gold coins. "While you build on the clouds, Jackson, I keep my feet on the earth. Gold and silver aren't just hedges. They are the only assets that don't require a password or a power grid." She pointed back to her monitors, where the logos for XRP and XLM glowed. "I agree with you on utility, though. The bridge currencies are the plumbing of the new financial system. When the central banks moved to the ISO 20022 standard, these became the rails. I don't buy them for the hype. I buy them because the world's money can't move without them." Jackson sat on the edge of the desk, his expression turning more serious. "What about the shift toward real-world assets? That's where I'm putting my biggest bets this year." He manipulated the data on his tablet to show a portfolio of tokenized commercial real estate. "RWA is the bridge, Alara. I own 0.5% of a skyscraper in Tokyo and a fraction of a private debt fund in London. It's all on-chain." Alara nodded, acknowledging the logic. "The tokenization of everything is inevitable, but remember the risk of the wrapper. A tokenized asset is only as good as the legal framework behind it." She reached out and touched the silver bar she had placed on the desk. "Balance is the only strategy that survives a decade. You need the stability of the metal, the scarcity of the Bitcoin, and the utility of the protocols." Suddenly, the monitors flashed amber. A notification pulsed, a sudden liquidity crunch in a major offshore exchange. Alara didn't flinch. She had seen this cycle before. While the market panicked and paper hands began to liquidate their ADA and Dogecoin, she checked her cold storage. "Volatility is the price we pay for being early to the future," she whispered. Jackson watched the numbers tumble, his grip tightening on his tablet. He saw his XLM and HBAR positions dip, but he remembered Alara's lessons. He didn't sell. Instead, he looked at the gold coins on the desk. They hadn't moved a cent. They were silent, steady, and indifferent to the digital storm. "Hedge and hold," he muttered to himself, regaining his composure. As the sun began to set over the city skyline of 2026, the two investors stood by the window. Their portfolios were diverse, a blend of ancient metals, digital gold, utility protocols, and tokenized reality. They weren't just chasing wealth, they were navigating the transition of an era. Together they watched the lights of the city flicker on, powered by the very systems they had helped build.